The girl who said, "Your father killed my mother." The slap echoed across the school hallway. Students froze. Books dropped. Whispers spread like wildfire. Emily Carter stood there, her face burning, her eyes wide with shock. In front of her was Haley Johnson, breathing heavily, fists clenched, eyes full of hatred. "You think you can just walk around like nothing happened?" Haley shouted. Emily didn't move. "I don't know what you're talking about," she said softly. Haley laughed. A cold, broken laugh. "Oh, you know exactly what I'm talking about," she snapped. "Your father killed my mother." Silence. The words hit harder than the slap. Within seconds, the hallway filled with murmurs. "That's her. The murderer's daughter? I heard her dad is in prison." Emily felt the ground disappear beneath her feet. "No," she whispered. "That's not true." Haley stepped closer. "My mom is dead because of your father," she said, her voice shaking. "And you walk around like a normal person?" Emily's chest tightened. "I didn't do anything to you," she said. Haley's eyes filled with tears, but her anger didn't fade. "You exist," she said. "That's enough." Before Emily could react, Haley pushed her. Emily stumbled back. "Stop it," someone shouted. But it was too late. Haley lunged forward, grabbing Emily's hair. Emily screamed. They both fell to the ground, struggling, crying, shouting. "Enough," a loud voice roared. The principal rushed in, pulling them apart. "Both of you, office." "No." Sitting in the principal's office, the silence was suffocating. Emily stared at her hands. Haley stared at the wall. "Violence is unacceptable," the principal said firmly. "Explain yourselves." Haley spoke first. "She's the daughter of a murderer." Emily shook her head immediately. "My dad didn't kill anyone," she said, her voice breaking. Haley slammed her fist on the table. "He killed my mom," she shouted. "Enough." The principal interrupted. He looked at both girls. "This is serious. Your parents will be called." Emily's heart dropped. Her mother already had enough pain. That evening, Emily sat quietly at the kitchen table. Her mother, Sarah Carter, looked exhausted. "What happened at school?" she asked gently. Emily hesitated. Then whispered, "They said Dad killed someone." Sarah closed her eyes. The silence said everything. "Mom, it's not true, right?" Emily asked, tears forming. Sarah looked at her daughter. Really looked at her. "Your father is in prison," she said slowly. "But that doesn't mean he's guilty." Emily's voice trembled. "Then why is he there?" Sarah didn't answer immediately. "Because sometimes," she said finally, "the truth doesn't matter as much as the story people believe." Emily felt her heart sink. Across town, Haley sat in her dark room, staring at a photo. Her mother smiled back at her. Warm. Kind. Alive. "You promised you'd never leave," Haley whispered. Her fists tightened. "And now she walks free," she muttered. Like nothing happened. Her father's voice came from the doorway. "Haley, dinner." "I'm not hungry," she said coldly. He sighed. "You need to let this go." Haley stood up suddenly. "Let it go," she snapped. "Mom is dead." Her father's face hardened. "And revenge won't bring her back." Haley looked him straight in the eyes. "Maybe not," she said. "But it'll make someone else feel what I feel." The next day at school, Emily tried to stay invisible. But Haley didn't let her. As Emily opened her locker, something sticky covered her hands. Glue. Students laughed. "Look at her," someone shouted. Emily panicked. Haley leaned against the wall, watching. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. Emily looked at her hurt, confused, scared. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. Haley stepped closer. "Because someone has to pay." Later that day, a boy named Jason Miller approached Emily. "Hey," he said softly. "You okay?" Emily nodded weakly. "Not really." Jason hesitated. "You should be careful," he said. "Haley, she's not going to stop." Emily swallowed. "I didn't do anything to her." Jason sighed. "Sometimes," he said, "people don't need a reason. Just pain." Emily looked down. And, for the first time, she felt truly alone. Revenge has no limits. The classroom smelled like chemicals and fear. Emily sat at her desk, trying to keep her hands steady. Her fingers were still red from scrubbing the glue off the day before. No matter how hard she tried, she could still feel it, like the humiliation was stuck under her skin. Behind her, she heard whispering. "Don't sit near her. Her dad killed someone. She's dangerous." Emily lowered her head. She didn't turn around. She didn't speak. "All right, class," said Mrs. Adams, the chemistry teacher. "Today we'll be working in pairs." Emily's heart sank. Pairs meant talking. Pairs meant being seen. "Emily," Mrs. Adams said, scanning the room, "you can work with." "I don't want to work with her," Haley interrupted loudly. The room went silent. Mrs. Adams frowned. "Haley, that's not acceptable." Haley shrugged. "Then I'll work alone." Emily felt every eye on her. "I can work alone too," Emily whispered. Mrs. Adams sighed. "Fine. But this behavior will not continue." But everyone knew it would. As class continued, Emily carefully measured chemicals, her hands shaking. She focused on the instructions. "Don't look up. Don't make mistakes." Behind her, Haley watched. Her eyes were calm. Too calm. She slowly reached into her bag and pulled out something small. A clear liquid. She waited. Waited for the right moment. Then, she bumped into Emily's table. The beaker tipped. Liquid spilled across Emily's project and onto her hand. Emily gasped. It burned. "Ah," she cried, pulling back. Mrs. Adams rushed over. "What happened?" "It was an accident," Haley said quickly. Emily looked at her. "That wasn't an accident." In the nurse's office, Emily sat quietly as her hand was treated. "It's a mild chemical burn," the nurse said. "You'll be okay." Emily nodded. But inside, she wasn't okay. Mrs. Adams stood nearby, her expression serious. "Emily," she said gently, "has this been happening often?" Emily hesitated, then shook her head. She didn't want more trouble. She didn't want to be the girl everyone pitied. Mrs. Adams wasn't convinced. "If something is wrong, you need to speak up," she said. Emily forced a small smile. "I'm fine." But her eyes said the truth. After school, Emily walked home slowly. Her hand throbbed. Her heart felt heavier. She turned the corner and froze. Haley stood there, waiting. "You're stronger than I thought," Haley said calmly. Emily stepped back. "What do you want?" Haley took a step forward. "I want you to feel it," she said. "Every second of it." Emily's voice trembled. "I didn't kill your mom." Haley's eyes filled with rage. "But your father did." "No," Emily said, louder this time. "He didn't." Haley laughed. "Keep telling yourself that." That evening, Emily finally spoke. "Mom, she's hurting me," Emily said, her voice shaking. Sarah looked up immediately. "Who?" "Haley," Emily whispered. "She says Dad killed her mother." Sarah's face went pale. "She attacked me today," Emily continued. "At school. With chemicals." Sarah stood up. "That's it," she said firmly. "I'm going to the school tomorrow." Emily panicked. "No. Please don't," she said quickly. "It'll make it worse." Sarah softened. "Emily, you can't keep suffering like this." Emily looked down. "I just want the truth," she said. Sarah's hands trembled slightly. "You deserve that," she said quietly. Later that night, Sarah opened a locked drawer. Inside were old documents, photos, court papers, newspaper clippings. She stared at one headline: "Gardner arrested for murder of local businesswoman." Her hands shook. "Roger Carter," she whispered. "What really happened?" Behind her, Emily stood silently. "I want to know everything," Emily said. Sarah turned slowly. For years, she had tried to protect her daughter. But now, the truth was no longer a choice. Across town, Haley sat in her room again. But this time, she wasn't alone. A man stood in the shadows near the door, watching her. "You're doing well," he said quietly. Haley didn't turn. "She deserves it," she said. The man smiled slightly. "Yes," he said. "She does." Haley clenched her fists. "Soon," she whispered, "she'll feel everything I felt." The man's smile grew darker. "Soon," he repeated. Emily didn't sleep that night. The house was silent, but her mind wasn't. Every word Haley had said kept echoing. Your father killed my mother. Emily sat on the floor beside her bed, knees pulled close, staring at the old box her mother had taken out. Inside that box was the truth, or at least a part of it. Come here, Sarah said softly. They sat together at the dining table. The box was between them. For a moment, neither of them touched it. Then Sarah took a deep breath and opened it. Inside were documents, photos, and newspaper clippings. Emily picked one up. Her hands trembled. A picture. A woman smiling. Beautiful. Kind. Who is she? Emily asked quietly. Sarah swallowed. That's Laura Johnson, she said. Haley's mother. Emily's heart dropped. Sarah took out another paper. A police report. 5 years ago, she began slowly. Laura Johnson was found dead in her own home. Emily listened carefully. Your father was the gardener there, Sarah continued. He worked for the Johnson family. Emily's breath caught. And they blamed him, she whispered. Sarah nodded. He was arrested the same night. Emily's voice shook. But did he do it? Sarah looked into her daughter's eyes. No, she said firmly. He didn't. Emily leaned forward. Then why is he still in prison? Sarah hesitated. Because the evidence was against him, she said. His fingerprints were everywhere. He was the last person seen at the house. Emily frowned. That's not enough. No, Sarah agreed. But there was something else. She pulled out one last photo. A broken vase. Blood on the floor. And this, Sarah said, was the murder weapon. Emily stared. What's wrong with it? She asked. Sarah's voice dropped. Your father's fingerprints weren't on it. Silence. Emily's eyes widened. Then, someone else did it. Sarah nodded slowly. Yes. The next day, Emily walked into school differently. Not confident. Not fearless. But curious. She needed answers. As she reached her locker, she froze. Her books were gone. Inside, someone had written in red marker. Murderer's daughter. Her chest tightened. She turned and saw Haley. Watching. Waiting. Emily walked straight up to her. What really happened to your mom? Emily asked. Haley blinked. Caught off guard. What? She snapped. I know my dad didn't kill her, Emily said, her voice steady. So who did? Haley's expression changed. For a second. Just a second. There was doubt. Then anger returned. You're lying to yourself, she said. No, Emily replied. Someone lied to both of us. Haley stepped closer. Don't twist this, she warned. I saw the reports. I saw the trial. Emily shook her head. Then you saw what they wanted you to see. Haley's fists clenched. Stop it, she shouted. Stop defending him. I'm defending the truth. Emily shot back. The hallway went silent again. From the far end of the hallway, someone watched. The same man from the night before. Hidden. Calm. Dangerous. He pulled out his phone and typed a message. She's asking questions. A reply came instantly. Then it's time. After school, Jason caught up with Emily. You shouldn't have done that, he said. Emily looked at him. I need answers. Jason hesitated. Then said something that changed everything. My dad, he was a police officer on that case. Emily's heart skipped. What? Jason nodded. He always said something fell off, he continued. But the case was closed too fast. Emily stepped closer. Do you know anything? Jason looked around nervously. Not here, he said. Meet me after school. I'll show you something. Meanwhile, Haley sat alone in the empty classroom. Emily's words echoed in her head. Someone lied to both of us. Her breathing became uneven. No, she whispered. That's not true. But deep down, a small voice asked, what if it is? The sun was setting when Emily reached the old park behind the school. Her heart was racing. Jason was already there, sitting on a bench, holding a small folder. You came, he said. I need to know, Emily replied. Jason looked around carefully, then handed her the folder. This belonged to my dad, he said. He kept copies, things he wasn't supposed to. Emily opened it. Inside were old case notes, photos, and one sentence circled in red. Primary suspect changed under pressure. Emily's breath caught. "What does this mean?" she asked. Jason leaned forward. "It means your dad wasn't the first suspect." Emily flipped through the pages quickly. "Who was?" she asked. Jason hesitated, then pointed to a name. "Daniel Johnson." Emily froze. "Haley's father," she whispered. Jason nodded slowly. "My dad said he had motive, opportunity, everything," Jason said. "But somehow, the focus shifted to your dad overnight." Emily's hands shook. "That doesn't make sense." "It doesn't," Jason agreed. "Unless someone made it happen." Emily stared at the file. Something clicked in her mind. "My mom said the case moved too fast," she murmured. Jason nodded. "My dad said the same thing. He tried to reopen it, but he was shut down." Emily looked up. "By who?" Jason's voice dropped. "People with power." At the same time, Haley stood outside her house, her hand on the door handle. She had come home early, and she heard voices inside. Her father. And someone else. "I told you this would come back," the other man said. Daniel Johnson's voice was sharp. "Keep your voice down. They're asking questions," the man continued. "That girl, Emily. She's digging." Haley's heart stopped. "Then we shut it down," Daniel said coldly. Haley stepped back. Her breathing became shallow. "Shut it down? What did that mean?" "Inside," the men continued. "You should have handled it years ago," the man said. "I did," Daniel snapped. "I got rid of the problem." Haley's eyes widened. "You framed him," the man said quietly. Silence. Then, "Yes." Haley felt like the ground disappeared beneath her feet. Haley stumbled backward, her hands covering her mouth. "No," she whispered. Her father's voice echoed in her mind. "Your mother was murdered, and he paid for it." But now, the truth was different. Her father had lied, had framed an innocent man, had destroyed Emily's life. Tears streamed down her face. "What have I done?" she whispered. At the park, Emily closed the folder. "This changes everything," she said. Jason nodded. "But we need proof," he added. "Real proof." Emily looked determined. "Then we find it." That night, Haley sat on her bed, shaking. Her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "If you want the truth about your mother, meet me tomorrow." Alone. Haley stared at it. Fear filled her chest. But so did something else. The need to know. Across town, Emily looked at the same sky, holding the same truth. Both girls were finally asking the same question. Who really killed Laura Johnson? And neither of them knew that the answer was closer and more dangerous than they ever imagined. Haley didn't tell anyone. Not her father. Not a friend. Not even herself, because saying it out loud would make it real. The message still glowed on her phone. "If you want the truth about your mother, meet me tomorrow." Alone. She stared at it all night. Fear whispered, "Don't go." But something stronger answered, "You need to know." The next evening, Haley stood near an abandoned parking lot on the edge of town. The place felt wrong. Too quiet. Too empty. "Hello?" She called out, her voice shaking. No answer. Then, footsteps. A man stepped out from the shadows. It was the same man who had been watching her. "Who are you?" Haley demanded. The man smiled slightly. "Someone who knows the truth you've been chasing," he said. Haley's hands clenched. "Then say it." The man stepped closer. "Your mother didn't die the way you think," he said. "And your father isn't the man you believe he is." Haley's heart pounded. "I already know he lied," she said. "What I want to know is, why?" The man tilted his head. "Because your mother was planning to leave him," he said. "And take everything." Haley froze. The man continued slowly, almost like he was enjoying it. "They argued that night," he said. "Loud enough for neighbors to hear. Your father lost control." Haley shook her head. No, he wouldn't." "He did," the man said calmly. "And when it was over, he needed someone to blame." Haley's breathing became uneven. "So he chose," she whispered. "Roger Carter," the man finished. "The perfect scapegoat." Tears streamed down Haley's face. "All this time," she said, I hurt the wrong person. The man's eyes darkened. Yes, he said. You did. Haley wiped her tears. Why are you telling me this? She asked. The man smiled again. Because truth deserves to be seen, he said. Something about his tone felt wrong. Who are you? Haley asked again. The man leaned closer. I was there that night, he whispered. Haley's eyes widened. You saw it. The man's smile didn't reach his eyes. I saw everything. At the same time, Emily and Jason sat in his room, going through old files. There has to be something we're missing, Emily said. Jason nodded. My dad kept saying the timeline didn't match. Emily flipped through a document, then stopped. Wait. Jason leaned over. What is it? Emily pointed. The time of death and the time my dad was seen leaving, she said. They don't match. Jason's eyes widened. That means he couldn't have done it, Emily finished. Jason suddenly stood up. My dad had a recorder, he said. He used it during interviews. He rushed to a drawer and pulled out an old device. Please work, he muttered. He pressed play. Static. Then, a voice. A man's voice. Angry. You think you can leave me? The voice shouted. Emily's heart stopped. That's, she whispered. Jason nodded slowly. That's Haley's dad. The recording continued. A scream. A crash. Then silence. Emily covered her mouth. This is it, she said. This is proof. Jason nodded. We can take this to the police. Emily's eyes filled with tears. My dad, she whispered. He can finally come home. Back in the parking lot, Haley stepped away from the man. I'm going to the police, she said firmly. The man's expression changed instantly. Cold. Dangerous. That would be a mistake, he said. Haley's heart raced. Why? The man stepped closer. Because some truths are better buried. Haley shook her head. No, she said. Not anymore. She turned to leave. But the man grabbed her arm. You don't understand, he said quietly. If you talk, everything falls apart. Haley pulled away. Good, she said. It should. That night, two girls made the same decision. To tell the truth. To stop the lies. To end the pain. But neither of them knew. The truth doesn't just set people free. Sometimes, it puts them in danger. Haley never made it back that night. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Her room stayed empty. Her bed untouched. By morning, fear had turned into something heavier. Something real. At school, whispers spread faster than ever. Did you hear? Haley's missing. She didn't come home. Her dad called the police. Emily stood frozen near her locker. Missing? Her chest tightened. This wasn't just revenge anymore. This was something else. Something dangerous. Jason rushed up to her. Emily, have you heard? Emily nodded slowly. She went to meet someone, Emily said. She told me yesterday she wanted answers. Jason frowned. That's bad. Emily looked at him. No, she said. That's worse. Because deep down, she knew exactly who Haley had met. Emily checked her phone. A new message. Unknown number. You should have stopped digging. Her blood ran cold. Jason read it over her shoulder. This isn't a joke anymore, he said. We need to go to the police. Emily nodded. And fast. Across town, Daniel Johnson paced back and forth in his living room. Police officers stood nearby. When was the last time you saw your daughter? One asked. Yesterday afternoon, Daniel said quickly. She went out and never came back. His voice sounded worried. Convincing. But his hands were shaking for a different reason. At the police station, Emily and Jason sat across from Detective Harris. We have something, Jason said, placing the recorder on the table. The detective pressed play. The voice filled the room. Angry. Violent. Guilty. Harris's expression changed immediately. Where did you get this? He asked. My dad, Jason said. He worked the case. Harris leaned back slowly. This changes everything. Emily leaned forward. Can you find Haley? She asked. Harris nodded. We'll do everything we can. Meanwhile, Haley opened her eyes slowly. Darkness surrounded her. Her hands were tied. Her head hurt. What? She whispered. A light flicked on. The man stepped into view. The same man from the parking lot. You shouldn't have tried to be brave, he said calmly. Haley's heart raced. Let me go, she said. The man smiled faintly. You were never supposed to know the truth, he said. Haley swallowed. You worked for my dad, didn't you? She asked. The man's smile widened. I helped him, he said. Clean up his mess. Haley's breath caught. You helped him kill my mom? The man tilted his head. No, he said. But I made sure the wrong man paid for it. Back at the station, Detective Harris stood up. We're reopening the case, he said. And we're bringing in Daniel Johnson. Emily's heart pounded. And Haley? She asked. Harris looked at her. If she's connected to this, we'll find her. In the dark room, Haley stared at the man. You're not protecting him anymore, she said. You're protecting yourself. The man chuckled. Smart girl. Haley's voice shook, but she didn't stop. Then you won't kill me, she said. Because I'm your only leverage. The man paused. For a moment. He actually looked impressed. Maybe, he said. But you're still a problem. Emily's phone buzzed again. Another message. Come alone if you want to see her again. Jason grabbed her arm. No. Absolutely not. Emily looked at him. We don't have a choice. Emily stared at the message on her phone. Come alone if you want to see her again. Her hands trembled. Jason shook his head immediately. No. You're not going. I have to, Emily said. That's exactly what he wants. Jason argued. It's a trap. Emily looked at him, her eyes filled with fear, but also something stronger. If I don't go, Haley might die. Silence. Jason clenched his fists. Then I'm coming with you. Emily shook her head. No. He said alone. And you're just going to trust him? Jason snapped. I don't trust him, Emily said. I just don't have a choice. An hour later, Emily stood outside an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. The sky was dark. The wind howled softly. Everything felt wrong. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The door creaked shut behind her. A single light flickered in the distance. Hello, Emily called out. Her voice echoed. Then, a slow clap. Well done, the man's voice said. He stepped into the light. The same man. Calm. Cold. Dangerous. Where is she? Emily demanded. The man smiled. Straight to the point. I like that. Emily didn't move. Let her go, she said. The man tilted his head. You're brave, he said. Or maybe just desperate. Emily's heart pounded. Show me she's okay. The man nodded toward the corner. Emily turned and saw Haley, tied to a chair. Weak but alive. Emily, Haley whispered. Emily's chest tightened. I'm here, she said. Haley shook her head slightly. It's a trap. I know, Emily replied softly. The man chuckled. Touching, he said. Two enemies. United by truth. Emily turned back to him. You helped frame my father, she said. The man didn't deny it. Yes. And you helped cover up the murder. Yes. Emily stepped closer. Why? The man's smile faded slightly. Because your father was expendable, he said. And Daniel Johnson paid well. Haley closed her eyes in pain. My own father, she whispered. Emily's voice grew stronger. You're going to prison, she said. The man laughed. Am I, he said. There's no proof here. Emily reached into her pocket. Actually, there is. She pulled out her phone. Recording. The man's smile disappeared. You planned this, he said slowly. Emily didn't answer. But her silence said everything. Outside. Police sirens. Loud. Close. The man's expression changed instantly. You think this is over? He snapped. He grabbed Emily's arm. Haley screamed. Let her go. The man tightened his grip. You just made a big mistake, he said. The door burst open. Police. Drop her. Officers rushed in. The man hesitated. For 1 second. That was enough. He was tackled to the ground. Handcuffed. Finished. Emily rushed to Haley. It's okay, she said, untying her. You're safe. Haley looked at her, really looked at her. I'm sorry, she whispered. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Me too. Outside the warehouse, Detective Harris stood with his team. "We got everything," he said. "The recording, the confession, it's over." Emily nodded. "My dad?" she asked. Harris smiled slightly. "He's coming home." Haley looked down. "And mine?" she asked quietly. Harris's expression hardened. "He's under arrest." Haley closed her eyes. Tears fell silently. The courtroom felt heavier than ever. This time, it wasn't just about anger or blame. It was about truth. Emily sat beside her mother, her hands tightly clasped together. Across the room, Haley sat alone. No one stood beside her. Not anymore. Her father, Daniel Johnson, was seated at the defense table, handcuffed. For the first time in her life, Haley didn't recognize him. The judge entered. Everyone stood. "Case reopened. The People versus Daniel Johnson," the clerk announced. A murmur spread across the courtroom. Emily's heart pounded. This was it. The prosecutor stood. "5 years ago, Laura Johnson was murdered," he began. "An innocent man, Roger Carter, was falsely accused and imprisoned." Emily's eyes filled with tears. Her father. "In light of new evidence," the prosecutor continued, "we now present the truth." The recording played. Daniel's voice echoed loudly. "You think you can leave me?" The courtroom fell silent. Then, the confession. The man's voice. Clear. Detailed. Damning. "I made sure the wrong man paid for it." Gasps filled the room. Daniel's calm mask cracked. "That's not," he started. But it was too late. The evidence was undeniable. "You framed him," the prosecutor said. "And you murdered your wife." Daniel's hands trembled. He looked at Haley. For a moment, he looked almost human. "I did it for us," he said. Haley shook her head slowly. "No," she whispered. "You did it for yourself." The judge's voice was firm. "Roger Carter is hereby exonerated of all charges." Emily burst into tears. Her mother covered her mouth, sobbing. And then, the doors opened. A man walked in. Older. Tired. But free. "Dad," Emily whispered. Roger Carter looked at her and smiled. They ran to each other. 5 years of pain, gone in one moment. "I knew you'd find the truth," he said softly. Emily held him tighter. "I never stopped believing." The courtroom quieted again. "Daniel Johnson," the judge said, "you are found guilty of murder, fraud, and obstruction of justice." The gavel came down. Life imprisonment. Haley closed her eyes. It was over. But not in the way she imagined. Outside the courtroom, reporters gathered. But Haley walked past them silently. Emily followed her. "Haley," she called. Haley stopped. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Haley turned. "I hurt you," she said quietly. "For something your father didn't do." Emily nodded. "You did," she said. Haley looked down. "I don't expect forgiveness." Emily took a deep breath. "I don't either," she said honestly. Silence. Then, "But I don't hate you anymore." Haley's eyes filled with tears. That meant more than forgiveness. Weeks later, school felt different. Quieter. Softer. Emily walked through the halls without whispers. Without fear. Haley kept her distance, but not out of anger. Out of respect. One afternoon, Haley approached Emily. "I'm leaving," she said. Emily looked up. "Where?" "My aunt lives in another state," Haley replied. "I need a fresh start." Emily nodded slowly. "That might be good." Haley hesitated. "Thank you," she said. Emily frowned slightly. "For what?" "For telling the truth," Haley said. "Even when it hurt." Emily smiled softly. "That's the only way things change." The house felt different. Quiet. Empty. Haley stood in the middle of her room, staring at the walls that once felt like home. Now, they felt like a memory she didn't belong to anymore. Her suitcase lay open on the bed. Half packed, half forgotten. She picked up a photo from her desk. Her mother. Smiling. Alive. Tears blurred her vision. "I thought I was fighting for you," Haley whispered. "But I was just hurting everyone." Downstairs, her aunt waited. "Are you ready?" she asked gently. Haley nodded. But her feet didn't move. She looked around one last time. Every corner held a piece of her past. The anger. The lies. The pain. "I'm not the same person anymore," she said softly. Her aunt placed a hand on her shoulder. "That's not a bad thing," she replied. Haley took a deep breath and finally walked out. Across town, Emily sat in the living room with her father. Roger Carter looked at everything like it was new. Because to him, it was. Freedom felt strange. Beautiful. Overwhelming. "I miss this," he said quietly. Emily smiled. "I missed you more." They both laughed softly, then sat in silence. Not uncomfortable, just peaceful. Later that evening, Emily spoke. "Dad, how did you survive?" she asked. Roger looked at her. "For you," he said simply. Emily's eyes filled with tears. "I almost stopped believing," she admitted. Roger shook his head. "But you didn't," he said. "And that's why I'm here." Back in Haley's empty room, one thing remained. A letter. On her desk. Addressed to Emily. Emily found it the next day at school. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside, in neat handwriting. "Emily, I don't know if I deserve to write this, but I needed to try. I spent years hating you for something you never did. I made your life a nightmare because I didn't know how to deal with my own pain. And I'm sorry. Not just for what I did, but for who I became. You were stronger than me. You chose truth over hate. I'm trying to do the same now. Maybe one day, I'll forgive myself too. Haley." Emily lowered the letter slowly. Her chest felt heavy. But not with anger. With understanding. That afternoon at the bus station, Emily ran. "Haley." Haley turned. Surprised. "You came," she said softly. Emily nodded, holding the letter. "I read it." Silence. Then Emily stepped closer. "You can change," she said. "You already are." Haley's eyes filled with tears. "I don't know if I deserve a second chance." Emily shook her head. "It's not about deserve," she said. "It's about what you do next." Haley smiled through her tears. "Will you ever forgive me?" Emily thought for a moment, then said honestly, "I'm trying." That was enough. The bus doors opened. Haley picked up her bag. "This isn't goodbye forever," she said. Emily smiled. "Just a new chapter." Haley nodded and stepped onto the bus. As the bus drove away, Emily stood still, watching, not with sadness, but with hope. Because for the first time, the past didn't control them anymore. 1 year later, the same school halls, the same lockers, the same classrooms. But everything felt different. Because the girl walking through them was no longer the same. Emily Carter walked with quiet confidence. No whispers followed her anymore. No judgment. No fear. Only respect. She had changed. Not because life became easier, but because she chose not to let pain define her. At home, things were even better. Her father, Roger Carter, had started working again. Simple job. Honest work. But every evening, they sat together for dinner. Something they had both dreamed of for years. "Best part of my day," Roger would always say. And this time, it was real. But there was one thing that never fully disappeared. An empty seat in class. Haley's seat. Sometimes Emily would look at it. Not with anger. Not even with sadness. But with a quiet question. "Is she okay?" One afternoon, the classroom door opened. Everyone looked up. And there she was. Haley Johnson. Different. Calmer. Stronger. For a moment, time stood still. Then the teacher smiled. "Class, we have a returning student." Haley's eyes searched the room. Until they found Emily. No words were spoken. But everything was understood. Haley walked in slowly and sat down. Not in her old seat, but 1 row behind Emily. A new place. A new start. The bell rang. Students rushed out. But Emily stayed. So did Haley. For a moment, they stood there in silence. Then, "Hey," Emily said softly. Haley smiled. "Hey." They walked outside together. Not as enemies. Not even as friends. But as two people who understood each other's pain. "I've been in therapy," Haley said. Emily nodded. "That's good." I hated you for so long, Haley admitted. But really, I hated what happened to my life. Emily looked at her. I know. Haley took a deep breath. I don't want to be that person anymore. Emily smiled gently. You're not. Haley looked at the sky. My mom used to say something, she said. She said, holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. Emily nodded slowly. That's true. Haley looked at her. I finally understand it now. Haley hesitated, then said, I forgive you. Emily blinked. For what? She asked. For everything I blamed you for, Haley said. Emily's eyes softened. Then, I forgive you too. And just like that, something invisible broke. The past, the pain, the hatred, gone, not forgotten, but no longer in control. Weeks turned into months. Emily and Haley didn't become best friends, but they became something rare. People who chose peace. They worked on school projects together. They talked sometimes. They laughed carefully at first, then freely. And slowly, life moved forward. On the last day of school, Emily stood in front of the class. She had been asked to speak. She looked at everyone, then said, People think revenge makes things right, she began. But it doesn't. Silence filled the room. It only creates more pain, she continued. More damage. More broken people. She glanced at Haley. And, sometimes, the person you're blaming isn't even the one who hurt you. Everyone listened. Truth is hard, Emily said. Forgiveness is harder. She paused. But it's the only way to be free. Outside, the sun was setting. Emily and Haley stood at the school gate. 2 different lives. 2 different stories. Connected by one truth. Hate destroys. Truth reveals. But forgiveness heals. If this story touched your heart even a little, if you believe that truth matters, if you believe that forgiveness is stronger than revenge, then take a moment right now. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Like this video so more people can learn this lesson. And subscribe for more powerful stories that can change the way you see life. Because sometimes, one story can change everything.